Have you ever been punched in your motherfucking face? What you say? Oh, you haven't? Alright, wait, bitch. 2-4-80 kid, fucking me. I am here, ho, ice cream, booger, color kiss, Sub-Zero, no, ho, boogers in my clique. We don't fear, ho. I gotta wait, I gotta politics, I gotta bait. Ain't no apologies when I get paid. A dermatologist, I want the face. Don't talk to me when I stop in this bitch. Ho, ho, pussy watery, I got the tuna fish. Ho, ho,
Yo, post credit clarity, the pod, the only movie podcast, your favorite podcast.
No facts, bro.
I'm Zay. I'm here with Billy. Billy, what's going on?
Vibing, yo. This is actually they don't know this because obviously they're not here with us, but this is the latest we've ever recorded. Like
Yep.
as time wise, like it's currently 10:53. So we're vibing. We've had a whole day of watching film, breaking down films, doing a whole bunch of things, and now you get this current episode that you're watching, which is
Exactly.
That was your cue.
My fault. I thought you were thinking of what to say because I had something that I was going to
No,
say, but it had nothing to do with what you were saying.
Plur1bus. I
That's
think
on me.
is that
That's
how
on me.
you pronounce this? Plur1bus. Plur1bus.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Plur1bus. I've never seen that word in my life. I
Ever.
do want to say one thing. Normally after 10 o'clock, I'm not hitting up Billy. I'm hitting up, a different kind of person.
Right.
So, this is a special moment in time right now.
Before we
fact-
started recording, he definitely was like, "Yo, this is phone sex hours." So I don't know.
I did.
I don't know what that means
did
for the
say
rest of the recording. I'm just letting you guys know it might get crazy.
Hey man, if I start saying a few things, y'all know why. But yeah, we did say earlier we are talking about Plur1bus, the new show with Vince Gilligan. The director. It's got
The apparent
Red
goat.
Seymour.
Apparently, he's the
Yeah, Vince
greatest of all
Gilligan
time.
like that, bro. I said Gilligan. Vince Gilligan.
Right.
Jesus. Vince Gilligan is like that. He's for real like that. I've seen Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I've seen Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
So I knew that a great show was coming. But Billy, you haven't seen
At all.
any of these
No.
shows at all. So can you just talk about what you kind of expected and maybe what you got? Was it different?
Well, this is the thing. So I didn't know Vince Gilligan going into it. Like but like you said, I haven't seen Breaking Bad. I haven't seen Better Call Saul. And so my introduction to Vince Gilligan is this show, and then what people are saying post these two episodes about his writing experience and how he sets up shows. So a bunch of people are expecting this show to be amazing because right now he's batting 2 for 2. They're like I've seen a video because Plur1bus is this kind of big concept. If nobody knows, it's basically like, and obviously there's spoilers. So if you haven't seen this, who gives you're watching us?
Yeah.
It did go.
You're watching a review.
Right.
I know you saw the thumbnail.
Right.
Come on, bro.
Lock in, yo. Anyway, so Plur1bus, there is this connecting tissue virus that is making everybody a hive mind. And I just watched this video recently where they were comparing grand ideas, right? And so they were comparing shows like Lost or Manifest, where they have these big, interesting ideas, but somewhere along the line, the idea kind of makes them jump the shark. You know what I'm saying? It's not as well planned out as they may want you to think. And so there are moments in those shows where the audience is either lost, they're either saying like, what the hell am I watching right now? And they don't have the same concerns for Vince Gilligan's show because he's proven that on multiple occasions that anything that he shows you, anything that he does is well thought out and well planned. So the idea, starting with this grand idea of everybody being a hive mind, as scary as it might be in other people's hands, in Vince Gilligan's hands, they're excited. So I felt the excitement coming through. So I'm equally, after seeing the two episodes, I'm equally excited.
Yeah, these first two episodes were amazing. We should just get into it. Episode 1, we start off with This she's like an author. You know, she writes these books that are more so like rom
Little
coms.
smut
You know,
Jones.
kind of slop.
Yeah, a little
She's
smut.
writing slop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she's writing, and she kind of hates herself for it. You know, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad.
I'm like, yeah.
Cut that part out. Cut that part out. Cut
Yeah.
that part out. My bad. But yeah. So she's writing slop. She kind of hates herself for it, and we get into the little minutia of her. And by the way, we find out she's lesbian,
Right.
which I think makes her character 10 times better. If you ask me, I love the fact that she's
Well, I
lesbian.
mean,
It's so special.
I do like the fact that she's lesbian, not because of Zay's reason. Again, this is like Zay's horny hours, so we know Zay's
it's not.
reason.
It's not even horny. But go ahead. Why do you like that she's
Because I
lesbian?
like it because it adds depth to the reason that she hates her creation. And so later, like throughout the show, we end up finding out that the original love connection story was with two women, and she changed it to a male and a female because she felt like that would resonate with audiences better. And so to me, like I said, that added depth as to why she didn't like her creation, because she's like, well, this isn't telling an accurate story. It feels like a bastardization of my original idea, and the fact that y'all like it is like, ugh, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
but what's even crazier is, as much as she doesn't like it, as much as she does resent it, we do have a scene early into the first episode where they're coming through the airport, and she forces her manager slash lover to put the books on high level, which, if you know anything about selling books or selling any products, you want to make sure that things are at eye level so that they sell more. So she's clearly invested in the outcome. And then obviously we see that later when she's invested in the online reviews and stuff like that. But it's kind of a love hate relationship with her creation and what she gets from it.
Which is kind of an interesting, like, I think parallel to like the rest of the episodes, because in episode 2 she's busy telling the other humans that, listen man, individuality matters. The way the things that you create matters. The way that you think, how you do yourself matters. Which is obviously, I think this is an interesting like time to release this because of
Right.
AI and because of like all the things that we're
True.
seeing nowadays.
Yeah.
So what she's saying, yeah, what she's saying, like kind of resonated with me. We can get to that when we talk about episode 2, but yeah, it's just interesting because she hates the art that she's putting out, but when she realizes like, hey, like the rest of the world, like they have no choice now. They are kind of like, I won't say slaves. Like you said, it's a hive mind, so they all think together. It's
Yeah.
like, what would you rather? It's an interesting like oxymoron. It's like,
Yeah.
what would you rather? Would you rather like make bad things, or you know?
But my thing is, like, this show brings up a great thought experiment that I really like, and we're gonna get
Exactly.
into the other details of the first episode, but I did want to pose this question to you, like how is the hive mind good? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
on the surface, when you have this hive mind, you're only focused on the things that you need. But do you need individuality to birth ambition, which births progress? You know what I'm saying? Like, does
Yeah.
everybody only existing to fulfill their needs and not their wants lead to like this almost staleness in society and staleness in life? Like, how do you experience happiness if everybody's on one accord? How do you experience these like extreme emotions if everybody is knows everything about everybody? You know what I'm saying? It brings up the interesting thought.
Yeah, it's like they're doing Sims, but real life. Like it's real life Sims. And it's funny that you asked me that question, because I had a similar question posed in my notes when I was watching it. I was like, is peace worth the cost of individuality?
Right.
In episode 2, we see that like they don't kill. They don't do any of that. They freed all the animals from the zoos. Any kind of injury or any kind of like anything like that, that comes from Carol, the
Yeah.
one who's still fully human. Everybody else is more so on like some chill shit. So it's wondering. I started to think to myself, I was like, I don't know if I agree with Carol. I like her passion. I understand why she thinks the way that she thinks, but it's like the net positive. If we think about the net positive, like is but then again, there's nuance in this. There's so much
For
nuance
sure,
in,
for
in
sure. And
the
then
question that
what's
this
funny
asked.
is this kind of relates to the beginning of episode one. So in the beginning of episode one, obviously we get introduced to the main character, but we also get introduced to the scientists that receive a signal from space. And through them trying to figure out what the signal from space means, they end up finding out that it's like this DNA sequence. And so they proceed to
Hmm.
like start testing rats and things of that nature. And then that's how we get the hive mind quote unquote virus, right? And while that was
Correct.
going on, to me, a question that I was asking, and I want to pose to you, I wonder what your thoughts about it are, is we see the positives and the negatives of having a hive mind just through these first two episodes. Obviously, we're gonna get deeper into it as the show goes on. I was wondering what do you think about this? Like, was this message like a gift or was this like an attack from whatever alien force it came from or from whatever planet it came from?
I think the answer to this question is heavily based on like your perspective of the situation. I think that as we can see in the second episode with some of the other English speakers, they are not scared of this. They're not in any way like suspicious. They're very much enjoying the time that they have with their family.
Well, it's
If you
it's
look at
funny that you
Carol,
it's funny that you mentioned that because I think I don't think they necessarily are. So I think Carol is an example of somebody who's outwardly hating this. I think
yeah,
the what was the guy? The guy who had all the women around him. I think he's somebody who's an example of no, I understand the situation and the heaviness of the situation, but let me look at the bright side and let me like almost take advantage of this. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like he understands
yeah,
that this is a hive mind, but he's still like, all right, fuck it. If it's a hive mind, yeah, I don't need this.
yeah,
Let me fly Air Force One. Let me live in this lavish building. Let me go visit Las Vegas for a weekend. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? He's almost living it
I
up.
think I Yeah, I think it was him or it was the Chinese lady. One of them asked like, and it's such a is good writing is great because like it gets the message across without trying to seem so like
For
complicated and stuff
sure.
like that. So Vince Gilligan, he these are light words, but one I think it was either him, the French guy, or the Chinese lady. One of them asked Carol like, "But what are we gonna do?" Like, and
Yeah.
I was just like, just thinking about that. It's like, Carol, I get
Bro,
what you're saying, but like, in what are we going to
literally, you know
do?
what's funny? The first episode did such a good job of explaining what the situation was, and then it also did such a good job of us relating to Carol, like making us care about her stance. This is almost like a
Yeah,
terrible thing, but then the moment she gets around other humans, it turns into. Have you ever heard like slave movies being like trauma?
yeah,
The
yeah,
second episode when she gets around humans to me felt like this was Karen. Like it was like I all of a sudden I
yeah,
saw her from this different perspective of like, oh shit, maybe she is tripping. Like maybe she is just being this Karen white lady
yeah,
trying to butt her way into other people's business, and maybe it's not that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like it seeing Carol from a different perspective, I think is really, really good because we could easily spend every single episode being like, no, Carol is our hero. She obviously she has flaws. She's faced with alcoholism. She has other anger issues and things of that nature. But for the very second episode to position her in this way of like, well, maybe she is tripping, I think was genius writing, and I think leads to like more things that they can do with the show.
yeah. And it's funny because like, as much as she's trying to reject whatever this virus is, which by the way, I thought they were aliens at first. I'm sure everybody thought they were aliens.
True.
In the first episode, they even mentioned like, you thought we were aliens? We're not aliens. We're like a virus, which is I thought that was cool writing. But with specifically Carol, it's funny that she's so like rejecting all of this, but she still like is building that connection with something that
She
she
can't
sees
help
as
it.
not human.
Yeah.
Something that she sees as not human, she's still building that connection.
which is almost it's crazy because it almost works in her favor from like an audience standpoint of being on her side. Like the more she's around this person, despite it being a hive mind, she's seeing the things that make this person an individual, and she's almost like falling for it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a moment in the second
Yeah.
episode where she's looking at her longingly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and what's crazy is her looking at her longingly was followed by a scene where she didn't even know the lady's name. So it's like she's reserved from like diving into this relationship, obviously because she understands there's a hive mind and she has this like negative feelings towards it. But then under the surface, she can't help but see this person as an individual and the way that they present. And it's such an interesting dynamic that, like, again, I think the first two episodes do an amazing job of getting you hooked into the show and ready for more.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So when we get back into the first episode, I don't know if you noticed this. I don't know if you noticed this. Maybe you did. Maybe you're gonna add something onto this. But once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. Did you notice like how much these two episodes were like yellow?
Yes, very much so.
You
And
did notice.
I was wondering what you thought about that. I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of yellow in these first two episodes, and there's also like a lot of purple. You might be asking, you the listener might be asking what that means. I also asked, what does this mean? Because I know this isn't like for no
For no,
reason.
yeah.
So I did some research. I did some research. Look at me coming up with research.
Come on now,
I
like
did some
dang.
research as to I did some research as to what these colors mean in film and cinema and TV and stuff like that. And here's what I came up with. So purple, it can mean the first thing it can mean is like fantastic or supernatural elements.
Hmm.
But the second thing that I think really matters is that it is also linked to eroticism and mystery because it combines the enigma of blue tones with the warmth and sexuality of other warmer tones, which I think is very interesting
Yeah,
when you watch the show. There is a lot of mystery in like the plot and obviously of what's going on.
for sure.
But I think it starts to make more sense when you combine it with the meaning of yellow. So it says that yellow is also a contradictory color, which depending on the context and the type of film can mean very different things. It can be associated with madness and illness, insecurity or obsession, but also with the idyllic and the innocent. So coming from and thinking about that, thinking about purple meaning mystery, meaning that eroticism, that sexuality, and yellow meaning that madness, that illness, that obsession, I came up with like this is all like a simulated innocence that the hive mind is showing. And
Right,
I think that this is gonna come back around because right now in episode two, I think that he tried to he got me a little bit because I'm a little on the high mind side emotionally.
right.
Emotionally, I'm kind of with them because they're not hurting anybody, they're not killing anybody. But I do think eventually individuality will prove to be morally correct.
I think you have something there because, like, the hive mind presents whenever something in film, whenever something in TV, books, art, or anything presents as too good, it's never that. And so for them to
Exactly.
present themselves as like, no, we're here to save. That's why I asked the question earlier of like, you traveled 600 light years, right, to get this DNA sequence to Earth in order for them to figure it out and like disperse this virus. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that Carol is justified in asking why. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think she's justified in seeing that as soon as the hive mind takes over a body, that person is no longer there because
Yeah.
they are now the virus. You know what I'm saying? So I am excited to see in the following episodes, like, there's something there with the hive mind that just doesn't sit well with me. And
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what that becomes. You know what I'm saying? Especially because right now Carol is the only one suspicious of them. Or
Exactly.
at least on the
Exactly.
surface. At least on the surface suspicious. Because like I said, the French guy, he obviously knows that like this is the new norm, so he's taking advantage of it. The Mexican lady is like super like brainwashed. She specifically is like, no, this is a good thing. This is almost like a heaven thing. You even saw it in the scenes where she was like, no, I want this. The Asian guy is just, to me, feels more aloof to everything. Like he recognizes that this is a problem, but he's like, nah, I got my wife, I'm cool. The Indian lady feels like she's more what's it called, coping, because there's moments in the second episode where Carol's like, "Yeah, that's not your son. You think your son knows how to do open heart surgery?" Da da da. And she's like, "Why would you say that?" Da da. Because she wants to believe that these are still the people that she loves. So she's almost lying to herself. I think the Indian girl is gonna be like one of the first people to come over to Carol's side, outside of the French guy. One of the first people to come over to Carol's side because the lie was starting to break down in the second episode when they were at the dinner table and Carol was like, "Hey, son, how do you do such and such?" And he almost felt obligated to answer. You know what I'm saying? Like he couldn't even
Mhm.
hide that he was the hive mind type shit. So yeah, there's definitely a deeper, darker with this.
Yeah, and you mentioned in the second episode that she started to break her down a little bit. I think was also interesting and relating back to like the color thing that the color theory that I was basically talking about is that in the first episode, something very simple that a lot of film people or directors, a lot of directors do is like the clothes of the character. What is the character wearing? By what the character wears, you can kind of tell like what kind of person they
For
are.
sure.
In the first episode, we see Carol wearing the yellow jacket,
Mm-hmm.
as we see that, like I said, talking about that innocence. She's kind of our hero. She's like our Greek god in this story, And I think in the second episode, it's very intentional that she is not wearing that yellow jacket anymore because we now see her, like you said, we flip the perspective and we see her as a villain. We see her as a villain.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Because how dare you break the fantasies of these people? You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
how dare you come in and like it's so interesting because it almost plays into this idea of like people ask for the truth but they don't want it. You know what I'm saying? How dare you go up to somebody and break down this delusion that they fed them? Who are you to do that? And we see that with Carol, and like we see everybody's reaction to it being negative because it's like, bro, we're like 3 days into this, yo. Like let us get through our process on our own. We don't need you to come over here and start like bringing this harsh reality to us that we're just not ready to answer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And the one thing I did want to mention that we haven't mentioned yet is the fact that Carol is out of the five or six English speakers that are there, Carol is the only one whose family died. So she's the only one whose like life was like genuinely impacted that night. Everybody else's life, of course, was impacted, because their families are not no longer human, but like she was genuinely like personally like she can never see Helen again.
This is
It's
true, yeah.
over. So for
And it's
them
not even
not
like
knowing
Helen was taken over by the hive mind. Like Helen died. Like
exactly. Exactly is oh like you can't like ever like speak to her again. Like and for the rest of them is like you said with the Indian lady, it's much easier for her to cope when her son is not, she didn't have to bury him.
right.
Helen, I mean not Helen, but Carol had to bury Helen.
Yeah.
So I think that just by them, they don't. I don't even think that they know this because Helen is not the type to just tell.
Tell that
I keep
information.
saying Helen. Carol is not the type, yeah, to just tell that information. We can see like how her temper is and how like closed off she is. Yeah, she's just not the type to tell them. So that definitely like changes the situation for her. It makes it more like this is like a personal thing. Like, no, we have to stop these people. Like, we have to stop them.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you because we're still technically on the first episode. How would you have felt if you were in Carol's situation, like finding out the way that she did when she was at the bar, and then like she went in and seen everybody season up, drove away, found out like all this hive mind stuff. Like, what would your reaction would have been?
If my partner died, yes, I do believe that I would like be on Carol's side. I would be a little bit angry, but I think that like as soon as they started telling me like how like they told me that like I killed 11 million people just by like lashing out, I would my tune would start to change. very quickly. Very quickly my tune would start to change, and like how I'm hearing, like, because she hasn't even we haven't even asked like how they live or how does it feel to be in that situation, to be them. Carol still hasn't asked them
This
that.
is true.
So so like not asking them that, not being in their shoes, I would have asked them that already. I'm not Carol. I would have, asked them a whole bunch of questions that are not fit for the pod. I'll tell you that right now. I would have asked them, wow, yo, the way French dude was moving, I'm moving 1,000 times
A
worse. I'll tell you that
thousand times
right
worse
now.
is sick. Yeah.
1,000 times. Yo, where's Ice Spice?
Yo,
Is she still alive?
where's Ice Spice is sick. Yo, you heard it here. Yo, Zay. Where's Ice Spice?
Where's Ice Spice, bro? Bring me,
Immediately, he
bring
didn't
me
even have questions about nothing else. Yo, Hive Mind? Bet. Where's Ice Spice? Bring her here.
immediately. Where's Ice Spice?
Niggas and
But
say,
I think I was just the last thing that I was gonna say is just that I do think it's interesting how like um we get to see Carol like play off of we saw her play off of the hive mind, and we see that, but we also, I like that there are still like other human people alive, because it allows like what happened in the second episode, like what we keep talking
for
about, the
sure. I
perspective.
like how they brought
It-
that in
you're
early.
right.
Because I think there was a TV show, it's called Last Man on Earth. You ever seen that?
I've heard of Last Man on Earth, but I haven't like watched it. I heard it's good though.
So the
I heard it's
biggest
good.
issue with Last Man on Earth is that if you call it Last Man on Earth and you have episodes where he's the last man on Earth, introducing people is hard because now he's not the last man on Earth. You know what I'm saying? So I think
Yeah.
I think introducing these other people early. You know what I'm saying? Like before we even saw them, we knew about them in episode one, and I think that adds to it because I think if she were to exist on her own for a little bit too long, it would feel cheap to then be all of a sudden be like, well, actually, there's actually about five other English speakers. You know what I'm saying? And I think,
Like you save it as like a mystery in
yeah,
episode 9 to find there would be some bullshit.
right. And then it would almost give false hope as to being like, all right, well now this is a coalition of people who are dedicated, as opposed to what I think they're gonna do, which I was gonna ask you. What I think they might do is have each of these individual people, maybe not everybody, but each of the individual people slowly start to realize like, oh shit, we should be on Carol's side, and we should kind of try to do something about this. But I was gonna ask you, like, based off episode one, based off episode two, we haven't really talked too much about the episodes, but I do want to ask you, like, where do you think this is gonna go, and then we can kind of get back into like the minutia.
So I was thinking about that, and I kind of hinted at it earlier, but I think the fact that like Carol, I think they switch sides. I think Carol becomes the one that has built the relationship with them, and has like, at the end maybe she starts to enjoy them even, and I think that the others living in this so-called heaven, when it's not really paradise. They eventually start to realize that like this is not how I want it to be. So they either, off themselves, or they do
Mm.
something. I do think like they're gonna switch sides.
Yeah, I do think Carol's gonna fall in love with Shorty. I think the hive mind was correct in picking somebody
Mm,
who represents this ideal person that she's written all these years. Because you remember her books are about this guy, but it's really supposed to be about a woman. And so I think picking somebody that she's fantasized this entire time about, you know what I'm saying? To be
yeah,
Carol's chaperone, I think eventually she's gonna fall for her, unlike unwillingly. Like obviously she doesn't want to, but I think she will, and that's gonna present a problem in and of itself. Because then you're gonna ask, then like again, the questions that we're asking earlier is gonna pop up of like, well, what makes an individual an individual? Because despite being a hive mind, I don't like these other people. I like you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. And you're right. Like, what makes an individual an individual? Does it is it like I'm starting to think, like, as we're talking, like I'm starting to think that like maybe them being like a hive mind makes them like an entire individual. You know what I mean? Because they do have like characteristics. They're not like robots.
Right.
They do like actually like think, they have like things that they want to do, things that they don't want to
For
do.
sure.
It may seem like, they're all just like butlers, but they do have things that they want to do. They want to keep Carol safe. They don't want to kill animals. They don't want to kill at all. Actually,
Right.
you know, they provide and they help and they want there to be peace. They may have a you know, they may have a weird version of that peace, but they do have like ideals.
Right.
So does that constitute as individuality on like a
And you
mass
know what's crazy?
scale?
I was gonna ask this: where does the hive mind stop? Does the hive mind only like exist within Earth's borders? Because this isn't from Earth. So do they not only have knowledge of like everybody that's on Earth, but knowledge of like extraterrestrial things? And like, what are they planning with this? Again, I keep going back to this. Like, what the fuck is happening? Because is like it's alien, but it's not really alien. It came from 600 light years away, but we don't know if it sent itself, somebody else sent
Yeah,
it. You know what I'm saying? Like we have no idea.
yeah,
And I'm super excited to this show has grabbed me in a way where I'm so excited to try to figure that out. Like I'm like Vince, like every time I'm gonna say this from like a writer's perspective, right? Because all I do I write a lot of scripts and everything like that, and a lot of people tell you, hey, if you want to learn how to write a pilot episode, you go to Breaking Bad season 1 episode 1, and that's always stuck in my head,
mm,
even though I've never watched it. And so, knowing that information, knowing that Breaking Bad is such a pop culture icon that it is, and Better Call Saul, some people say is even better, like you said. To me, that gives me like trust in whatever the fuck Vince is deciding to do. Like I'm locked in. You've
mhm.
presented this topic. I'm have so many questions, so many ideas of where it can possibly go. Like I am seated for every single episode.
Yeah. So we talked a lot about the ideas of this show, you know, the questions that this show is asking. But I do think this show is like really good from a technical standpoint. You know, there are a lot of I think that there's a scene the scene in episode 1 or even the sequence in episode 1, I mean, where Helen falls to the ground. It's all starting, you know, the world is starting to turn to the hive mind and Carol is just in she's in heat, she's in danger, she's trying to figure out what's going on. She like the tension in that sequence is like one of the best like that I've seen all year,
For
to be
sure.
honest with you. That I was super locked in. And I think like what's so fire about me being locked in is the fact that like I think it was mostly like camera work.
Yeah.
It was camera work, it was music, it was acting. There wasn't much dialogue throughout that besides, you know, Carol just going crazy.
Yeah.
There wasn't much dialogue. It was just a lot of things were communicated visually and not
I was
just
just about
like
to
them
say
telling me like what's going
there's a
on.
rule. There's a rule. Show don't tell, and the way that they exercise that rule within the first episode specifically, but in both episodes, was like a masterclass. Especially that specific scene that you're talking about, where like Helen falls out. She's trying to save Helen. She gets in. She's first of all, she's distracted by a car crash. So she runs over to the guy, sees the guy, and at first is like, "Fuck, I gotta help him." Immediately turns around and look at Helen. Helen passes out. So now she's prioritizing, and the way that they show that, I like you got to give it up to everybody involved in the show. Like like I said, it was a masterclass in how to properly show, not tell.
Yeah, it was the specific camera angle. It's the way that they did it. So they did the thing where they have like a lot of they have Carol and you know the actual thing, the thing you're maybe supposed to be looking at happening on one side, and then in the back in like the negative space, they have like the actual important thing
Right.
that is actually happening.
And
You
and
know,
the way
and
that it
you look at
gets
that, you're like,
the
whoa,
way that it gets revealed to you as it gets revealed to Carol is amazing. You know what I'm
yep,
saying? Like Helen, yeah, fucking amazing, bro. I can't. It's 11
yeah.
o'clock at
So
night.
episode,
Like, it's only so many
so
words.
I do want to ask you. I do want to ask you. We talked about like Carol being like the good guy in episode 1. When you first like heard like the hive mind speak, what did you say? What were your
I'm
thoughts on
not
that?
gonna lie, because when we first heard the hive mind speak, that was at the hospital, right?
Yeah, it was. I think it was at the hospital, but like the first like real interaction was with like
With
the
the
secretary guy.
secretary guy. Honestly, when they all spoke simultaneously, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like I literally like that's what got me. I was like, well, oh shit, because before then, like I'm thinking it's like this regular alien kind of takeover thing. Like I don't know
Yeah,
what it is. I don't think it's a virus. I don't think it's anything. Like I think it's just some regular alien shit that's going on. When they all speak in unison, I immediately like, oh shit, hive mind. Okay, cool, we're here. And then when they fast forward to when the secretary is explaining it on TV, first of all, I thought the way that they did it was amazing. Like
yeah.
spec-
It was very creepy, very off putting. I was
bro,
like, bro,
that's what
what
I'm
is
saying
going
because
on?
and that's what I wanted to ask you. Like in that moment, bro, me personally, in that moment, if I'm flipping channels looking for some sort of like safety, I finally get to a channel that's working, and on the fucking banner below is like, "Hey, Carol, relax." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like
Literally,
I'm scared out of my mind. Actually, like that is the worst
yeah.
possible thing that could ever happen.
Yeah, I was scared. I ain't gonna lie, I was scared as hell. I was scared for Carol. I was scared for Carol when she was in that house because like I said earlier, they did the exact same kind of camera thing where they had like a lot of negative space in the background and you're kind of looking at the background. Horror movies do this a lot where you're like there's a lot of stuff going on, but in the background like the actual maybe scary guy shows up. Let's say it's like Michael Myers or some shit like that, and you're like, "Whoa, what the fuck? You got to watch out for that. He's coming, he's coming, he's
Yeah,
coming."
I thought they
You
were
know, it
gonna
caused
like
like a
break
lot
into
of
the
tension.
house. Honestly.
That's exactly what I thought was gonna happen by the way the camera work was, but you know, obviously nothing happened. But he's like, it's like, bro, you're playing with me,
But
like you're playing
again,
with
the
my.
camera
I know what this is supposed to mean.
But again, the camera work was revealing whatever Carol knew because Carol acted as if, oh shit, they're gonna break down the house. So she's with us. Like, which is
Yeah,
amazing writing. Like to pair them it's an amazing pairing of camera work and writing because Carol in real time is experiencing what we're the audience is experiencing. Holy fuck, they're gonna break
yeah,
it down. And the way that they were able to like do that is amazing because like how do you make the audience feel exactly what the character is feeling when we the audience are simply like watching the character go through the experience. You know what I'm saying? Like as a third person
right.
perspective, a lot of times an audience can be outside of what the character is doing, which I think is a lot of problems with a lot of movies. You know what I'm saying? Like where like a lot of critique for movies can boil down to just like I didn't relate to the character. I didn't feel what the character felt. So to be able to like get that across, especially in like a fucking TV show. Like we're not even talking about like this big budget film. You know what I'm saying? Like to me shows again that these are the right people involved in this show, and the show has no like nowhere to go but up. Like I have super high expectations
Yep.
for the show because like you're right, they made me feel scared in real time, and Carol was feeling the same emotions that I was feeling.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, like we were talking about with the camera work, Vince Gilligan is really good at subverting your expectations, and the way that he does that with the I guess we'll just call it the hive mind. The way that he does that with the hive mind, it's like as a traditional in the traditional movie, like Carol was saying in the second episode. Listen, it doesn't go like this. Eventually they something happens, and they start to become like really villainous.
Bro,
I think that the way that is they're like juxtaposing it
bro,
is like you're making the hive mind like have layers
have
to
depth.
itself.
How do you make a hive mind,
Yeah,
a thing intended to feel the exact same thing, have depth? And that goes back to what you were saying, where you feel like the rest of the show we're gonna realize that this hive mind has so much personality. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to
yeah,
other iterations of a hive mind, and the show does a really good job of answering the questions that you have. Like literally, Carol's like, "No, I've seen the movies. This is what I'm expecting," and that's literally what we're expecting, knowing that a hive mind is
right.
there. Like, oh, we have certain expectations, and the show is like, "No, this isn't that, bitch ass niggas." Like, this
It's not-
this isn't that, bro. Our hive mind is a character, and because it's a character within this show, we're not going to be cheap about it. We're going to add layers to it. We're going to add depth. We're going to have things that you disagree with, things that you agree with when it comes to this character, because Carol and other people within the show, the French guy, the Indian lady, are acting opposed to this character. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
yeah,
it's just so interesting, bro. This is one of them shows where as excited as I am for the story, I'm even more excited to how they're gonna present the story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And speaking more about the hive mind, it's interesting how the hive mind also doesn't really know what the fuck is going on. Like it's not one of these like all knowing. Like a lot of times in superhero movies or shows or any kind of media, when you meet like a person that, well, not a personality, but when you meet a foe like a hive mind, normally they're like all knowing. You know what I mean? They have like a ton of solutions to every problem. You can't really beat them, but in Pluribus, the hive mind kind of seems like we keep saying, the hive mind has depth, the hive mind has layers. The hive mind doesn't really know what the fuck is going on, because in that first answer to Carol, when Carol was like, "Listen, what are you guys? Are you an alien? Are you a virus? Are you?" They were like, "We might be a virus.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
might. we
He
don't
was like,
we
a
don't
virus
really
is like a
know."
good way to explain it, but like, not really. Like, and then the way that they described it was like, we're really just kind of like glue, honestly. Like,
Yeah,
and it's
we,
like,
we're just chilling.
yeah, but and then that opens up quite again. That makes me question, like, okay, well, how does this hive mind exist? Who created this hive mind? Like, does this, and again, does this hive mind have access to other hive minds that it hive minded? Like, what is the origin of like, are we ever gonna figure it out? Is that even a question that matters? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
bro, I'm trying, bro. I
that's
got,
that's
yo, this shit is crazy, yo.
yeah, bro. Bro, get
Yo,
everything about
everything.
Let's Go here.
Everything.
Nah, Vince, listen, man, you're cooking. Keep cooking. Listen. So episode one ends. Carol is drunk. She's drunk as hell because she just had like the worst night of her life. The worst night.
For sure.
We move on to episode two. She wakes up. She wants to find out. Listen, man, are there other English speakers? You said there were other English speakers. Let's go find those other English speakers. Well, actually, in the first half of the episode, she's like digging Helen's
I was just
grave,
about to say
but
that.
I don't know.
I was gonna
Yeah,
ask you,
yeah, yeah.
what do you feel like that means to Carol's character? Because the first half of the second episode is the love of my life is gone. I have to dig this grave. Like, what do you think that was
Yeah.
trying to get across?
I think it was more so like expressing how like angry Carol is with the situation, because she didn't accept any kind of help. And I've been in like the situation that Carol is in, where you like blindly hate something and you don't want to accept any kind of help. You don't want to accept any type of advice or anything like that. So I do think it was just like, like just
You,
expressing more characteristics about her
I was just
character.
gonna
I
say,
don't really know like what it was for the show. Like, do you have anything
I was
for
gonna say,
like
like,
anything grander?
I was gonna say, she initially is like, yo, I'm digging this grave for Helen because to me, her digging the grave herself is her trying to show, whether it's herself, whether it's the hive mind, this is how much I cared for Helen. Despite what we got from their relationship, which was kind of like we're a secret, we don't really like, we have this interesting dynamic of we obviously love each other, but the way that we
Right.
show it has to, one, be in secret, has to be like very very unique when we're in public. Like there's this dynamic that isn't normal, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, in the second episode when she's burying her, it's like almost like excusing all of that, you know what I'm saying? Like excusing the fact
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't able to love you publicly, excusing the fact that we had this dynamic that wasn't like a regular one. You know what I'm saying? And to show like how much I loved him. But then halfway through her digging, she ends up having to accept the hive mind's help because one, she's exhausted. One, she doesn't know how to dig a hole. Like she's a middle-aged white John. She don't know how to dig a hole. You know what I'm saying? So she ends up being put in a position where the hive mind has to help, which to me is really indicative of who her character is as a whole, which is I have these ideas, I have these like things that I put up as pillars within my life, but they're very weak. Like You see at the end of the second episode, again, the way that she's looking at the hive mind girl, like almost longingly, like she's not gonna stand on any of the morals that she's standing on within the uh first episode and second episode. That's to me what that showed. And when she's digging, you come back and you see the yellow flowers, like, which is again another theme, that yellow theme within the show. Like, that's why to me, like, it's showing no, don't worry about it. She's not gonna be this gung ho of like anti hive mind as the show goes on, because she's not about that.
I also want to push back. I don't think she's more so weak. I think it's like if every single time that you got like maybe irrationally angry, you killed 11 million people, that would probably make you like
I
step
don't
back
I
and like
don't
maybe
I,
doing
maybe weak is
less.
the wrong word, but I will say she's not as firm in the pillars, like the moral pillars that she puts up. And
Yeah, as she
as
seems to
she
be,
as
as
she
she
tries
wants
to
to be.
present herself as. Yeah, maybe that's a better way of putting it, because to your point, like it's shown through the show, like whenever she's outwardly angry towards the hive mind, they kind of glitch, and in their glitching more people die. And so every time she's forced to glitch, more and more millions of people died. They give us a number of like 11 million initially, and then she does it again, so we don't know what the real number is, but we can tell it's
Right, we
like,
don't know what the second number is.
yeah, we can
Right.
tell it's damn near hundreds of millions of people that are dying because of her, like almost not being able to control her emotions and things, or getting besides herself. And I do think that her trying to hand bury her girlfriend and then ending up accepting the hive mind's help is an example of her not being able to control like her emotions and things of that nature.
Mm. Yeah, which then while you were talking, I was thinking that like maybe, and this is pretty obvious, but like maybe on like a deeper level, the show is about like how different kinds of people maybe present anger, because you were saying earlier that all of them are kind of like unhappy with the situation. And I think that the maybe like the Indian woman, maybe some people present anger as, as trying to just, what, I'm gonna just figure this out. I know I'm angry. I know this isn't really going right for me, but I'm gonna just have to deal with it and figure it out. Carol, on the other hand, she's more so like the stubborn type. She's more so like, nah, I'm angry right now. Everybody gonna be angry. Everybody's
You know
gonna
what's
be angry.
crazy though, but like her and this is why I think like the Indian girl is gonna come around, because her and the Indian girl are two sides of the same coin. So Carol's stubbornness is like this outward expression, while the Indian girl's stubbornness is like almost this radical acceptance of like, no, this is my son. What do you mean? Like there was even a scene in the second episode. Again, I mentioned it earlier where she asked the Indian girl, "Did your son know how to do this and this before the hive mind?" And she was like, "My son was brilliant before." It's like, oh, you're just lying to yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
very
and then
much.
the second time she confronts her son, the Indian girl's like, "Why would you do that? How dare you? What gives you the right to do that?" You know what I'm saying? So I do think both of them are stubborn, and they're two sides of the same coin. They're just expressing their stubbornness like differently. It was in the same way that I think the Mexican girl and the Asian guy have this almost aloofness to them, but they're expressing it differently. Where the Mexican girl is more spiritual with it. Oh, this hive mind almost represents this like heaven like experience for her that she wants to be able to join, because she feels like the moment she joins, she'll be back with her cousin, back with her grandma. And then you have the Asian guy's aloofness, which is just like, nah, this is still my wife. Like, I'm still,
Yeah.
fuck it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So,
I still get the crack, nigga. I
right.
don't care. So yeah. Moving on. We get to meet the other five English speakers. Carol's like, I want to meet these people. I want to, hop on a plane and go wherever we go and meet these people. And she meets them. They all seem, I don't know, they all seem like they're not enjoying. I'm not gonna say enjoying, but they definitely seem like they're way more content. Carol is on high alert. She's on high alert. She might call the hive mind a slur right now. She's
She
very, you
is.
know, she's on that.
You know,
She's on
but
that. The rest of them, they're chilling.
you know what I think helps
What?
is the fact that the rest of them have their family. You said it earlier, like Helen, she
Exactly.
lost Helen. Like I think if Helen was there, she'd be able to cope better. Which is why they brought somebody who they felt like would be a good like chaperone. You know what I'm saying? The other people have direct
Mm.
family members. So it's easy for them to kind of pull memories from the family members, act as the family members. You know what I'm saying? But Carol has nobody. So it's easier for her to like get lost in this idea of this being like a bad thing in comparison to the other
Yeah.
people.
Which then asks the question again, these people who have your family's memories, they act like your family, they talk like your family, they walk like your family. When you speak to them, you don't feel as though they're not your family, but it is like something controlling them that's making them act just like who your family was. So it's like, is that morally still your family if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck? Is it a duck,
Nah, I'm with
or
Carol.
is it something totally different?
Nah, that's not them, because as much as they can try to simulate that person, as the moment you join the hive mind, you get rid of your individuality. So as much as you can try to like regale memories and try to regale mannerisms, you're still a different person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So you're gonna like the moments that I'm not looking. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna act different,
yeah,
and I can't
yeah,
help but catch those little moments. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. But that's the thing. It's like, can you tell the difference? That's kind. And if you can't tell the difference, how much does it matter that they're being controlled? That's like, I it's a great question that this show is posing. I don't really know. If I was in that situation, no clue. Honestly, what I would do, I might be just like the Indian girl in Coke. I ain't gonna lie. What would
Nah,
you
I'm
do?
not gonna
What do you
lie,
think?
brother. Bro, cause that shit, I'm thinking about that shit right now, bro. That shit would creep me out way too much, bro. I might be a Carol and be like, yo, get the fuck away from me until I need you. Like, please get away from me. Like, because as much as I may like anybody around me, as much as they're like are negative attributes, there's attributes about them that I find comfort in. And you lack that now. You know what I'm saying? So no matter how much I can lie
Yeah,
to myself, that's not you anymore. And that's not anybody. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Wherever I go, it feels like I'm constantly being observed because I am. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm very much an individual from the rest of this hive mind, so they have no choice but to like observe me wherever I go. Literally, there's a scene. I think it was in the second episode or the first episode where they were like, "Hey, you've been out here for 2 hours. You're about to die of dehydration." Carol's like, "How the fuck do you know that?" And they're like, "Oh, we happen to have like a B8 fucking flying over you." And she's like, "What the fuck?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
which is a valid reaction. Very
true,
valid
very
reaction.
true. But it is this constant pressure of being perceived by everything around you. You know what I'm saying? That I just wouldn't. I don't think I'd be able to handle.
Yeah, nah, I would be totally fine lying to myself if they got me Ice Spice. Give me Ice Spice, you got me. You got me.
You got me. You're sick, yo. Who would get me? That's a good question because you're very gung ho about this Ice Spice. I
Yeah.
think Pink.
What would it take? Yeah, what would it take for you to like? Okay, I'm content with the
I
situation now.
think
What would it take?
give me Pink Panthers, Doja Cat,
Mm,
Lotto, and Zazie Beats. I'm cool.
mm. All of them at the same
Yep.
time. You
I'm
you wild.
I'm going I'm going out like the French guy.
Which I think I saw myself in everybody here. I saw myself even in the young girl who kind of wanted to join the hive mind
Yeah,
because she just wants to be with them and she thinks that that's like the best way forward.
for
I
sure.
definitely saw myself in the Chinese guy who like didn't care,
Yeah.
about any of this, to be honest with you. But I think I mostly saw myself in the French guy because he was more so of a like, yeah, this situation isn't ideal, but I'm going to make the best
Yeah, he
with what
accepted
I
it. He was
have.
like, and what was funny is
Yeah,
we don't know if he has family or not. You know what I'm saying? That he's left
right. We
behind.
don't
He
know.
could have easily just been like, "Oh, this is the hive mind. This is my new normal. Fuck it. All right." Like he saw like it's because he's had moments. So there was a way that the French guy was introduced to us as this like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" kind of jolly guy. But then he had moments of seriousness when he was talking to Carol, where it was like, "Oh no, you're aware of the situation. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You're not like the other people. It's just that you almost don't care because it doesn't matter to care. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is caring gonna
Yeah.
do?
And then we do have to ask this question. Carol, like you mentioned earlier, Carol is a white woman.
Yes.
So for him being like a brown person, I don't know what he is specifically, but being a brown person and now being afforded all of the privilege that you saw white people have,
Yeah.
and
He's
some a white person is telling you to like let that go, you're like, nah,
he said
like
that in
this
the
is
plane
fun. I
though.
like this.
He
Yeah.
said what is the problem with the world that doesn't nobody's robbed anybody, nobody's killed anybody, and when I walk outside, I am not judged by the color of my skin. And when he said that, like I was with him. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
well,
I was like, he right.
nah,
He
he
cooking.
cooking because as much as Carol can preach this like anti-hive mind, there are experiences that you can't relate to, and it's gonna make it hard for you to try to convince somebody like him that this is a bad thing. Like he's living better than
Yeah.
he's ever lived because of this hive mind. Maybe it doesn't last that long because obviously there's this like underlying plot of them trying to figure out how to get these people in the hive mind. Like
They said they're months away.
yeah,
Yeah.
they said they're months away, so obviously it's not gonna last long. So if I'm him, I'm like, all right, I'm living it up. Yo, give me Air Force One. Yo, I'm going to
Yeah.
Las Vegas to spend time in a penthouse. Yo, all of these women have them follow me. Doesn't matter if they're the hive mind. I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? So
It's fire, bro. It's fire. Like I see what he on. I see what he on, bro. They eating the finest meals, eating the finest meals, bro. And if you know that like if all those people are now hive mind, I don't know if they eat. By the way, do they do?
I was
That's
wondering the
the other
same
thing we
thing. I
still
don't
have to
know,
ask.
but
Yeah,
again with
do
the
they
hive
eat? Do they
mind,
do regular human
I was about to
things?
say with the hive mind, that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning of the episode, where it's like as a hive mind, you only do things that you need. So I do think that they eat, but they don't eat for the pleasure of eating. They eat for the nourishment of eating. You know what I'm saying? Which is why they were able to say like, no, we're vegetarian. We don't kill anything because their version of eating isn't yo, this is an amazing meal in front of me. I have to have it. It's more just like this body needs energy, so I'm going to feed it energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just it's super interesting because I can't wait until because I'm pretty sure in the third episode, Carol is gonna be like, listen, man, all right, what is it like? I give up. You know, what is it like to be you? And I'm very interested with the answers that
True.
Vince Gilligan proposes.
Yeah,
Because I think that Vince like we've been saying, Vince is going to subvert our
for
expectations.
sure. And I'm not only am I excited to see what they say, I'm interested to see what causes Carol to one ask that question, like what incident makes her ask that, and two, what her response is gonna be.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
does she all of a sudden again does she break down these pillars of morals that she put up when faced with like an answer that she can relate to? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm super excited.
Yeah, so my next question for that would be like if Carol, you know, adds that in the next episode, all that stuff, da 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 da. Do you think that we see the other humans again? Because there's a chance that we never see them again. They are like across the world.
True.
You know,
I
they
think
are
I think
living
um
their
I
lives.
think you don't introduce them in the second episode if you don't have plans with them. Already at the end of episode 2, she stops Air Force 1, so I'm assuming she's going to be in Las Vegas with the French guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I just don't think you introduce these characters that are the only there's 11 people surviving, 5 of them speak English. I don't think you introduce the English speaking ones if you don't have plans on bringing them back. I
Yeah,
think I
but I do think there's a reality where like we just sit with Carol for like 3 or 4
True,
episodes and then we
true.
go back to them.
But I do think that's possible, but I don't think so. I think now that they introduce a character, we might get one more episode where she's by herself. But I think she's all I don't know. This might be a hot take. I think she's always either gonna be like with a character or in contact with one of the characters that speaks English for the rest of the show.
Yeah. And I do think that that provides an interesting dynamic for the show. Like we do need, I do think we need Carol to be bouncing off like actual
For
humans
sure.
and not just the hive mind, just to like continue to make the show
Right. Right. Right.
like
Right.
have like layers and depth and stuff like that. So yeah, the second episode ends. Well, not ends. I'm not gonna say that. But the ending of the second episode, she has the little moment where she basically crashes out on the hive mind again because they tried to see if she was okay. Which, by the way, is she good? How did she trip?
Yeah,
Like,
I
what's
don't
going
know. I
on
don't know
here?
if that was her tripping. I don't know if that was like her passing out. I don't know what that was. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, cause like
Maybe she drunk too much, like too fast.
I
Like,
don't think that was it, bro. I really think like she may have like passed out because of something. Because again, remember in episode one, they were like, "Hey, you're real close to like overheating and dehydration." I think she's just like all of this has been so overwhelming. She's like forgetting to take care of herself.
wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. She falls down, right? Okay, she falls down on the rocks. The hive mind is asking her if she's okay. Is this scene an allegory for sexual harassment? What do you think?
You're gonna have to break that down a little bit more. Actually,
Listen, listen,
you're gonna
listen,
have
listen,
to
listen, 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 listen,
you're gonna
listen.
have to
Let
break
me
that
cook. Let
down
me
some
cook.
more.
Let me
I'm
cook. Let
letting
me
you.
cook.
I'm here.
I
You know?
think that I do think that Carol has some kind of. We talked about the walls that she has up.
Yeah.
We talked about like how miserable she is a little bit. What if she was like sexually harassed maybe as a kid? Somebody used to come and touch her at night, and now she's a lesbian. Well, she's not a lesbian because of that,
Right.
but
What are we
she
saying?
she grew up. She's a lesbian now. Yeah, because I'm not saying because guys, don't cancel me. Don't cancel me. Don't.
What are we
It was
doing?
out of
What
context.
are we
It
doing?
was out of context.
It's 12 o'clock at night,
No,
yo. We
but
staying anything, yo.
but listen, the reason why she's so averse to accepting the hive mind is because she feels like she has no control. A lot of times we hear like with sexual harassment victims that like when they have the situation is about control. So like with them losing their control, it often like triggers them. When she loses control in the second episode, and the hive mind is over her, is that like a little like what she
So
was
I
like
see. I see what you're
PTSD, sexual
saying.
harassment?
I
Like,
see what you're saying. I'm not gonna say that I agree. I'm not gonna say that I disagree. But I am gonna say I understand what you're saying, and I would like the show to
okay.
play out, and maybe we'll get an answer to that.
Listen, if I'm right,
No, if you're right, you
I'm
can.
the
Yeah,
greatest.
if you're right, you can come back in here. You can do whatever you want. You could be like, "Yo,
Yeah,
you tried to make me seem like a crazy person." No, you can do all of that. If you're
yeah.
wrong, we'll never mention it again. Though, if you're wrong,
Hey man, if I'm wrong, we'll never know.
we'll never
We'll
know.
never know.
We'll never know. Anything else you
But
wanted to
yeah,
say specifically about like episode two or episode one?
I don't have much else to say about episode two or episode one. I do have something to say about the way that this was marketed, and they did a fantastic job.
You think so?
I had no clue. I had no clue this was Invasion of the Body Snatchers, hive mind things going on.
True.
I thought that the overview was. I thought that the premises of the series was already interesting, where you have the most miserable person in the world, and everybody else is just trying to make her happy. Like that sounds interesting. That
Yeah,
sounds like
for
something I want to
sure.
see. I watched the trailer. When I watched the trailer, that's exactly what it seems like. But just watching these first two episodes and seeing how much they hid from us,
Yeah.
that's how you market a show.
I
That's how
think that's
you
a
put
thin
out
line though. I
trailers.
think that's a thin line though because people want to know what they're getting into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I think this is a rare case where not revealing too much is working in the favor of the show. Like, and to your point, I didn't watch any trailer. The only thing I saw was a little blurb that you had previously mentioned, and so I was
uh-huh.
already locked in. But for some people, they want to know what they're getting into. So to make it to know whether it's worth their time. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I have
Yeah,
other things I could be watching, or I have other things that I could be rewatching. Tell me that this is worth our time. So I do think that's a very thin line that most shows can't get off. I think this is one of the
yeah.
few
And
that
this
can,
is this is the point where Vince Gilligan being the writer, that's a
for
privilege.
sure,
That's a privilege. A lot of other shows, like you're saying, have to show off a little bit more to get people interested. So that is a thing about
for
it. Vince
sure.
Gilligan, yeah,
Nah, one hundred
he
percent.
got motion. He got motion.
He got motion is sick, yo.
he got
He got
motion,
motion. All
man.
right. Any final thoughts on Plurbius as a whole? Anything that you're
Morbius.
anticipating? Any extra words?
I wonder. I do want to know if we'll get like flashbacks. You know, obviously not just for my theory, but I would like to get more Helen. I would like to get more Helen. I like her. I like their relationship. I like the fact that Helen is kind of the only one that can, get her under control a little bit.
Right.
She's like the only one. Like even when you see like Carol wanted to drive the car, she like, bitch, if you don't get in that damn passenger seat, So I do want to see more Helen. I do want to see more of the humans, like we said. But again, I think the most interesting part of the show is learning about the hive mind and eventually finding out that it's also like a big ass person.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most and things that I'm anticipating is like backstory on the hive mind. I could give a fuck less about Carol. Actually, the moment that I came to the, I'm not gonna lie. The moment that I came to the conclusion of like the realization in the second episode that this was like Karen born, it almost took me out of the show. I got back in, but it definitely almost took me out of it.
Yeah, the way that she was acting was great. It
Yeah.
was
And
prime
what's
white
funny was
woman.
funny. It's not even the way that she was acting. It was the way that people perceived her. It's the way that I assumed people perceived her actions, which to me
Yeah,
took me out of it for like point 0.5 seconds. But I was
yeah,
wrapped right back
yeah,
in,
yeah.
which is I guess a nod to the writing and everything like that.
Right, right. So, yeah, that's Pluribus episode 1 and 2 review. Thanks for listening. We do have one final segment, the segment we do on every single podcast. Billy, what are you
I
watching
like how he came
currently?
to me because he's currently not watching shit. He's
Stop
gonna
it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop! 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 Stop!
he's gonna be like, oh, actually, I'm not watching anything. Actually,
No, I have something this time. I have something this time.
Jesus. Um, um, what am I currently watching? I am currently watching. I'm finishing up season 2 of Interview with a Vampire, in anticipation of season 3 coming out. I think it's next March. Um,
Mhm.
if you guys haven't seen Interview with a Vampire, the show, not the movie, it's one of the most amazingly written shows. It's an amazing story of like longing, love, passion.
It's
Uh,
also gay.
That too, but I think that's the selling point. I don't know about you, Zay, but I think Billy Holick, one half of Post Credit
Yo,
Clarity.
positioning yourself as the non-homophobic one. You good? You good?
I'm just saying. Me personally, Billy Holick. You can follow me on Twitter at Billy Holick. I think that's a plus. You know, little parsley to the show actually. So I don't know
Yeah, little spice. We appreciate it.
for sure.
Um, so the thing that I'm not currently watching any shows. I did just watch a movie. You know, a movie I watched
What movie did you watch?
came out recently on Disney Plus.
Holy moly, Disney Plus. What possibly
Yeah,
could this movie be?
I watched Fantastic Four
Oh,
again.
whoa.
Fantastic Four.
Whoa, hold
Yep,
the
I watched
presses.
it again. I watched Fantastic Four
Real
again. This is
cinephile over here.
oh God, nobody else is watching Fantastic Four except me. Yo, nobody knows about this movie. Listen, I watched Fantastic Four again. Funny enough, this is the fourth time I've seen it.
Whoa.
Fourth time I've
Fourth
seen it. Come on,
time.
man. Y'all not doing the
Whoa.
knowledge, man. Y'all
Oh,
not
he's
doing the
seen
knowledge.
Fantastic Four 4
Yep.
times. Come on, yo.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, it was a fantastic experience. You wanna know why?
Whoa.
You wanna know why? Hold on, I'm cooking. I'm cooking. I'm cooking. I had to be like last night. I had to be like 8 9 shots deep.
It's a great night.
I got off of FaceTime with my friends, my internet friends. I got off of FaceTime and I turned on Fantastic Four. No, actually, I didn't turn on Fantastic Four first. I turned on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but then I was like, I don't want to continue watching this. Not because I wasn't enjoying it, but just because it wasn't the show that I wanted to like fall asleep to. It
Right.
wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't that. So instead, I turned on Fantastic Four. I had some Taco Bell. Know what I'm saying, with the hot sauce. I'm going crazy. I had a crunch wrap, and I had a
Oh,
taco. I was
living
going nuts.
dangerously.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And obviously, maybe in the morning, I didn't feel like that was the best decision, but at night, felt great.
You
Felt
was
great.
having the time of your life.
Yeah, and I came to the conclusion that Fantastic Four is a great at home movie. It's a great at home. You don't always have to. This is gonna sound so bad, bruh. You don't have to
Got it.
I'm locked
Got
in the
it.
whole movie.
Got it.
You could watch a couple
Nah, I
TikToks,
got
get
it.
back to the movie, and still be still
Word.
be entertained, not be totally
Yo,
lost.
that
That's what
is
happens.
Zay from Post Credit Clarity Podcast, a podcast about movies. By the way, saying this,
So yeah, man. It's post credit clarity pod. Make sure you hit the
I will
mailbag
say this is getting
in the
bleeped out.
description.
Zay drunk is an amazing time, yeah, around women. This is getting bleeped out.
Oh my
Life of
gosh,
the
bruh.
party, this guy.
Listen, man. If you ever see me drunk at a party and I'm around women,
Help the party. If you ever
help
see
the
me in
party.
the woods with it,
Help the party. This sounds very bad. This could be taken out of context crazily. It could This could be taken out of context crazily. Guys, all we're saying is that, around the women were around last night and I just started saying how I felt. That also sounds crazy.
yeah, no, you should
There's no
stop.
way there's no way to make this sound good. There's no way to make this sound good. There's no way to make this sound
I'm
good.
not gonna lie, bro. I didn't set you up for success with that. My bad, yeah.
You did it.
My
There's no
bad. My
where am I supposed
bad.
to take
You
that?
should have just ended the show. You should have just been like, all right, guys, post credit clarity, we out of here.
All right, man. All right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, man. Let's end this. Let's end the episode. Let's end the episode. On that note, make sure you follow Billy on Alien Home Phone, his YouTube channel. He's
Salute,
gonna have a couple videos coming out soon.
salute.
Follow me on High Tolerance. Whenever I feel like making a video will be posted. I have not abandoned that
He
channel.
has,
It is
by the way,
just, and at the moment we just don't have any ideas. So and then make sure you also hit the post credit clarity mailbag.
for sure.
The mail will be in the description. Hit us with any kind of like questions, or maybe
Suggestions
you
or
want us to
anything,
watch something.
for sure.
Yeah, suggestions.
Tell
Maybe you
us,
want us to watch
yeah,
something.
tell us what you want us to watch. Tell us what liquor you recommend for next time we want to go drinking. You
Mm,
know what I'm saying?
yep.
Whatever hey, whatever you want, yo, we have open ears for you.
Wide open, very open, so full, so
Got
filled.
it.
Yep. So thanks for listening to the pod. Make sure you share it with your family, friends. It's Zay and Billy.
Post credit.
We out.